Hi. So here we are to do our review of Three Crowns of the Sailor. It was very surreal, and I don't think I understood exactly what was going on through the whole film.
No. I remember now why it so captivated me at the time, because I think it captivated my vanity more than anything else, because I wanted to be seen as a radical kind of like arts intellectual or something. And so I'm in frame again.
You're in frame.
And so the radical arts intellectual comes back into frame. And the movie is, in terms of narrative, linear narrative, almost non-existent. It's not like other films by any stretch, and that's what would have excited me as a young man. And it takes place in this netherworld on this freighter with these people who we do learn are ghosts, and it's largely incomprehensible, and it's a series of stories which are told from port to port where this thing goes. The setup is that the film sets up its own world, totally its own world, visually and language-wise. It's a very literate movie. A lot of talk, no action, and
good dialogue.
Fantastic dialogue, very poetic, very very rich. Beautiful language. Oh, it's also in French.
And Spanish.
And Spanish. But I think the point that ravished my senses was that it is this really, really high arts, surreal account of the strange mutabilities in all our lives. Time, identity, and he free associates across these. Each of the little stories that's told is surreal in its own sense, but they free associate each other. So at some point, some of the stories, which are all occurring simultaneously, take 20 years, some of them take days, some of them take months. Most often, the recurring story is about a fiancé whose man goes off to sea and doesn't come back, and when he does come back, he does or doesn't find the fiancé and his mother, and they may or may not have starved to death, or she may have killed herself. And while he's off at sea, he goes to various ports, and he meets whores, and
he meets a young boy that he adopts as his child. He meets
a Japanese savant child who becomes his son, and
then he adopts two men that he was in jail in Tanzania or somewhere like that.
Tangiers.
10 years, yes.
Yeah, that's right. 10
God, time just, you lose whole track of time, because he doesn't age because we finally discover in the end, some years later, that he's a ghost.
He's a ghost also, in this strange suspended nether world of time and space. And the labyrinth begins immediately. This is Alice down the rabbit hole, and you go through a crack in reality. None of the visuals are about reality, and none of.
And it's shot that way too.
Yeah,
I mean, that low camera angle that used in the opening scene. I mean, and the way the camera moved around them, it was very disorientated, and that's where you lose. I think that was his. What's the word?
His MO. To defamiliarise.
Yeah, to destabilise you from the normal world.
And then ultimately we end up back where we started, with the first murder, and the discovery of the coins, and the induction of the new sailor onto the ship of dead stories. I mean, there was only a handful of people there for a start, and and again, they were actually very like the people that I was when I saw it in 1983. They were young arts intellectuals, and it probably really, really fascinated and excited them that they were seeing something so radical and also so accomplished. I mean, it's not merely that it's radical. I mean, the guy is so in control of the labyrinth that he sets up. He absolutely knows what he's doing, and the visual medium is.
And nothing's lost in the translation of the how you read subtext.
So yeah, good, but it's it's one of the great movies that you will probably never get to see.
Talk about today.
A couple of things. There's a curious little magazine article on the New York Times about a young gay guy who has since renounced homosexuality and has become an ex-gay. No. He's become a Christian. He's not associated with any of the things that we know about as ex-gay movements. I think there's something psychologically valid, even though I don't like the theology of it. There's something psychologically valid about his disgust and repugnance with
the gay community.
And when we've got time, we'll haul those sites up and
we'll decontextualise them.
Have a closer look at that.
The next thing we're going to talk about on the next video is
there's a couple of months ago, the World Health Organization released their results of a rather astonishing piece of research about treatment and prevention. The results went global at the time, astonishingly, and the World Health Organization thing really is suggesting that there needs to be a bit more flexibility about public health models. There's an entire list of caveats which will be hauled out to demonstrate why we need to be cautious about what the World Health Organization has said. We're going to look at that a little more closely and question the critical way of getting people to feel comfortable about testing is to reduce stigma, and there's a whole lot of things that are actually contributing to stigmatising people who are positive.
And was there anything else?
No, I'm cool. It's all good.
All good. Make sure you subscribe, click the button down the bottom, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.